So unfortunately, the Phoenix Suns have a very difficult offseason ahead of them this summer. They have very little money and little wiggle room to get done what they need to get done, which is provide enough depth around Devin Booker and Kevin Durant to actually stand a chance come playoff time. There's a lot of Suns fans clamoring for Kyrie Irving to be reunited with Kevin Durant, but Sundo and I both agree. The whole notion of a big three seems a little outdated, and we're ready for the Suns to just go the route of providing quality depth and a quality bench. I think that Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are good enough that they can get it done with that. Speaking of Sundo, he and I are going to be live on Bleacher Report Friday, June 9th. We'll tweet about it so that you have the details, but we hope to see you there. As of right now, the Suns are kind of looking good. It's possible that when the finals are done, the Suns will have been the only team that was able to get 2 wins off of this really strong Nuggets team. And I would argue that if Kevin Durant didn't have basically the worst game of his whole career in Game 2, where the Suns had the Nuggets down 10 points in the third quarter late, the Suns could have won that game, taken a commanding 3-1 lead after going home and winning those 2, and possibly changed the landscape of the rest of the playoffs. But I want to get specific on why this summer is going to be so difficult for Matt Ishbia and James Jones. Probably the biggest reason is the fact that CP3 is making a ridiculous $30 million this year, 15 guaranteed. And if he were to stick around the next year, he gets another 30. It's too much. This guy cannot stay healthy in the playoffs. It's not just about this year, the year before, the year before. It just goes on and on. And I truly believe that that groin injury he sustained versus the Nuggets would have kept him out the rest of the whole Nuggets series. He wasn't coming back. And if somehow the Suns were able to get out of that series alive, I don't think he would have came back for the finals. We all remember how long it took Devin Booker to come back from his groin injury. And he's a decade younger. And let's say CP3 did come back. Let's say he just played through the groin injury. He would have been basically useless. And the other reason is 2 off seasons ago, the Suns, in an effort to not lose their former #1 overall pick, matched Indiana Pacers' max offer sheet for DeAndre Ayton. These 2 contracts are basically strangling the Phoenix Suns right now. But don't worry, I've got the fix. You might not like it, but it's something that I think the Suns genuinely need to consider. If the Suns are unable to find a trade partner for CP3 in the offseason, which isn't completely outside the realm of possibility, but if they can't find anyone to trade him to, then they need to simply cut him. That's right, I said cut him. And they can spread his $15 million guaranteed over 3 years, $5 million apiece. Shout out to Tori from Blazers Uprise for bringing this up during our last live stream. If the Suns were to cut Chris Paul, they would then qualify for the MLE, the mid-level exception, which grants $12 million. We could throw all 12 at a single player, for instance, and it doesn't have to be him, but Kelly Oubre made $12 million last year, and he's a free agent. Or the Suns could wisely spread that money out the best they can to find some depth pieces that will cost more than just a minimum contract player, like the level of Okogie and Damian Lee. No offense, I'd like to bring both of them back potentially, but I think we all can agree the Suns need a little bit higher tier of player than just the minimum contract players plus 36. While I know cutting Chris Paul seems like an extreme option, the more you look at this Suns offseason situation, with the new CBA being as tough as it is, the more you realize there doesn't seem to be any other options. Unless they could move DeAndre Ayton. Now, if the Suns could pull off the DA for Miles Turner trade, like the one that I suggested a couple of videos ago, or a trade of better value, that would open up even more money and more possibilities for the Suns to create a real championship roster. Now, if the Suns were to be really ballsy here and move both of these guys, Ayton and CP3, you could conceivably construct an entirely different roster. And it looked to me like Booker and Kevin Durant don't need much. Just A team one tier higher than where they were last season could be enough to get it done all the way. I mean, who else out there is really getting buckets besides those two? Now, if you want to see DA in Phoenix just with a new system and a new coach, I get that. I might even be leaning towards agreeing with you. But I think the time has come. If you can't trade CP3, you've got to cut him. You have to cut him for the sake of flexibility alone, or else you're going to trot him out next season. And if he doesn't get hurt in the regular season, you know it's going to happen in the playoffs, and you're going to be stuck in the exact same situation. Tell me in the comments below if you agree, or are you hoping the Suns will keep CP3 at any cost? Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you guys next time.